What's up, humans? It's Miss Holt here with another art lesson for you today. Today we're going to look at warm and cool colors as well as abstract art and landscape art, and then combine all of those elements together to create a warm and cool abstract landscape. Let's get started.
Warm and cool colors. Warm colors and cool colors refer to the two temperatures of colors that make up the two halves of the color wheel. The warm colors, red, orange, yellow, and everything in between, tend to be more stimulating and bold. The cool colors, green, blue, violet, and everything in between, tend to be more calming and relaxing.
Alright friends, so to create your warm and cool abstract landscapes, you're going to need the following things. You're going to need your piece of black paper, construction paper. You're going to need a black oil pastel and your chalk pastel. So your black oil pastel is what you're going to use to outline the shapes of your landscape, whereas your chalk pastel is what you're going to use to color it in. So because obviously oil pastels has an oil base and chalk pastel has a chalk base, the two don't blend the way that they would if you used all oil or all chalk. So the oil pastel creates a nice barrier between your colors so that you don't smudge them in. So to start your chalk pastel landscape, you need to have your paper horizontal or in landscape, not in portrait. All landscapes are going to be this way. You're going to start by writing your name and your class code on the back. Your name, your class code. Your class code, remember, is the first letter of your teacher's name, last name, and the grade level that you are in. Flip your paper over, that is now the back. To start your landscapes, we are going to create, again, an abstract landscape that has kind of like a mountain, in the middle ground, some rolling hills in your foreground, and concentric circles or circles within circles in our background or our sky. So the first thing we're going to do is create our first hill in the general shape of our horizon. You can have some behind there. Remember, this is abstract, so this shouldn't look like a landscape in real life. And then from here, you're going to add in, some more of these hills. Using these lines are going to just outline the different shapes and give you some options to fill in colors here. So some might be larger, some might be smaller. Now behind these lines, you're going to create your mountains. We're just going to use these large half ovals to create our mountains. It's just a big curved line. When you do your second one, you start at the side, curve it around, and bring it down. That's going to create the illusion that your mountains are overlapping. And the last step is to create your concentric circle. So you start with a small circle in the corner. You're going to draw a circle around it. Another circle around that. And so on and so forth. When you reach the edge of your paper, you're going to pick your oil pastel up. Try to keep the space between them the same. When you reach your mountains, you pick up your pastel, go to the other side. And your circles are going to exist behind these mountains as well, so you're creating the illusion that it's still going. And voila, that is the start of our warm and cool abstract landscape. All right, friends, once you have your landscapes drawn in oil pastel, in your black oil pastel, now you're going to use your chalk pastels to color in. Now remember, we need to distinguish we need to tell the difference between warm colors and cool colors. So you have to choose either warm colors for your land, so for your abstract mountains and your hills, or cool colors for your land. Whatever you choose for the land, the opposite is the background. So if I choose cool colors for my land, my circles, my concentric circles, are all going to be warm colors. So I have to keep that in mind. I'm going to choose to do my background circles in a warm color scheme and my land in a cool color scheme, but you can make that choice for yourself. Remember, warm colors are the colors you would use to create the sun. Cool colors are the colors you would use to create water. When you're using chalk pastels, they're really cool, but here's the thing. When you use them, they create this kind of dust. What we don't want to do is blow the dust away because we're going to have a crazy, crazy mess. What we are going to do is use our giant piece of black paper that's been folded down the center as a messy mat. So your paper is going to go on your table to cover any part of your desk. Your chalk is going to go on that paper as well. So when you use your chalk pastels, you're going to color inside your oil pastel lines. And if you get any of that chalk dust, you're just going to tap your paper over and it's going to fall into the fold. Okay, so make sure you go nice and dark. Don't blow. Flip and tap. Okay? Because you're going to make a big mess if you start blowing chalk everywhere. Each one of your circles should be a different color. We have lots of different shades of oranges and reds and pinks. So make sure you're choosing a different color each time. Try to stay inside those lines. The oil pastel is going to be a good guideline, but it's not perfect. And tap. Be careful once you start filling this up that you don't smear your hand across because you're going to make a big, big mess with your chalk. Each time I do a shape, I'm tapping the extra color off. And don't worry about the black oil pastel looking kind of messy. When we finish, we're going to go back over all of our pastel lines again to make them look nice and dark. Right now, they're just helping us place the color and stay inside the lines of our shape. All right, now that my background is done in warm colors, now I'm going to do my foreground in cool colors. So remember, each space, each shape that you're coloring needs to be a different color. So I don't want to make both of these mountains the same color purple. I could use the two different shades of purple if they were enough of a difference. So I'm going to fast forward and go ahead and color in my mountains. All right, all of my chalk is done. So my next step is to go back over all of my pastel lines with my black pastel again, just to kind of give it a better outline, make it a little darker, clean up those edges where the chalk may have gone into it. Be careful where you're holding your paper, because if you get blue chalk on your hands and then you put your hand down in your warm area, you're going to have a problem. So be really careful about where you're touching your paper, especially at this point when everything is done. And you're just trying to go back through and clean up these lines. Right, once you've cleaned everything up with your black oil pastel, give it another shake. Your back will be messy, it's okay. Give it another shake. You can clean up some of your areas by laying down a little more chalk and some of the spots that maybe got washed out a little bit. Just be careful of those outlines that you spent just all that time making. Last thing you want to do is add in some highlights to your mountains. So my sun's over here. So all of my highlights are going to be on this side of my mountain because the light is going to be hitting this side. So I'm going to take my white and add a little something for a highlight, just using a curved line just to outline that shape of our mountain. You have completed a very messy landscape using warm and cool colors as well as line and shape. Once you're done with your piece, you're going to have quite the mess on your hands. Take a baby wipe and just kind of wipe your hands off. Anything on your arms or your elbows or anything like that, just clean your hands off with your baby wipes. Take your artwork. Mrs. Holt's going to collect it. Make sure you give it a tap or two to kind of clean that extra chalk off. I'll hold on to your artwork. Place your pastel box back nice and neat in their correct area. And then put the cover back on like that. Then your plastic cover goes back on. This is important because it keeps them from shedding chalk everywhere. So place the cover back on the top and then slide this pack back in its sleeve. Just like that. Close it up and I will come get this. Place your pastels back where they go. I snapped the tips off of mine, but they still work, so I'm going to place those back. Take your messy mat, which looks really cool, and it's already got a fold in it, so you're just going to fold it. Give it a little shake. Close it up so that all of your chalk dust falls in the fold. I'll call you one by one to come over and just dump your chalk in the trash can. Don't throw your messy mats away because I'm going to use these again, but just walk over once I call you, get all of your chalk dust in the fold, fold it up, hold it on each side like that so that you're not letting any of the chalk dust fall out when you walk. Then just tilt and dump it in the trash can. I hope you had fun making a mess with me today, and I will see you folks next time.